We were invited to check out two beautiful gardens in Perdido Key by Miss Kat McCreary and her friend Maureen. We started out by talking with Miss Kat about her favorite plants, keeping seeds, and her methods for doing so.
You always save your seeds at the very end of the season.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
These are your warriors. These have survived every pest, they have survived every fungus, they've survived too much rain, they've survived not enough rain, they've survived too much wind, they've survived everything. So these are your warriors, and you always want to save your seeds from your warriors. So,
oh yeah, they bite you a little bit.
They will bite you a little bit.
Jeez.
You gotta be tough,
This one's
Josh.
violent. Yes, I'm sorry. You're right. I gotta
not
be tough.
for sissies. You gotta be tough.
Well, I need to retire.
Every southern garden is filled with zinnias. My zinnia story started with my great-grandmother. When my grandmother and my grandfather married, my great-grandmother gave my grandmother zinnia seeds from her garden as a new bride, marrying into her family. So that was her way of saying, I'm welcoming you to my family.
And because of that, Miss Kat has zinnias growing in her garden from those seeds passed down through generations. This garden is the only place where you can find zinnias with this seed heritage.
So these are the super special red zinnias. So
The ones that you cannot get anywhere.
You cannot get anywhere else. So what you find in zinnias now in the nurseries, they've bred out the benefit to the pollinators. This is the beneficial part of the flower. This is why all the bees are so attracted to them. So these have been lost for years and years and years. So by saving these seeds and growing these every year, I am actually helping to preserve a heritage crop. So I'm going to share these with the two of y'all.
Awesome.
But I want to show you how this is designed. So pick one of these up.
Okay.
So these are the petals. Okay.
All right.
So that's the petal as
All
it
right.
sits in the flower. Again, another perfect design. What does that look like to you?
It's like a little arrow, like a little spear.
arrow, right. So when you let this dry on the plant and the petals fall off and pierce the ground, they start their own plant.
They just fall like that.
They
Boom.
just fall like that. Boom. But the pollinators love them so much. I plant them in every focal part of my garden, and I've probably shared 200 of these plants this year.
And when you say the pollinators love them, you're referring to butterflies and bees?
Butterflies and bees,
Okay.
and the hummingbird.
Man. So we're gonna have plants in our yard that you cannot buy
You
anywhere.
cannot buy anywhere. No,
Except from you, or
Okay.
get them from you, or be blessed with them from you.
that's right.
Man.
I have never sold a zinnia in my life. I like to talk about great varieties to grow in Florida. So this is an Asian yard-long bean, okay? You can see how long that bean is.
Wow.
They grow so well here. A lot of beans don't do well. They can't take our humidity. So I just picked this morning. I love to eat these raw. They're delicious. Sweet, tender,
I'll take
stringless,
another. Yes, ma'am.
but they're a yard long. So you'd need 4 beans to equal one of these. And they have the longest growing season of any string bean. So, and they trellis beautifully. They get these really delicate little purple flowers. They trellis beautifully.
And if you were supposed to cook them,
So I was going to show you.
I'm all about
when you're
eating
gonna,
things. Now, do you cook them like regular green beans?
heck
Just
yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
put them in a skillet, cook
Yeah.
them down,
absolutely.
little onions, and
And they
whatnot.
also preserve really well.
throw some
So I
bacon in
can
there.
them. There was some bacon in there, of course. So my friend Maureen, who y'all met,
Miss Maureen gave us an excellent tour of her garden and landscape. Though due to Hurricane Sally, much of the footage was lost, but rest assured, she will certainly make herself back on a later episode.
Maureen had done a ton of things as well. So we got together, and on this yard, we laid out flat after flat after flat of plants. And we took a picture of each one, all the information on it, and all of our neighbors came. and everybody picked out plants. So everybody took home vegetable plants, flower plants, tree plants. Maureen had citrus trees and loquat trees that she gave away. It was just really cool in our whole community. So now when you drive around, it's like, wow, there's Granny Mac's zinnias. That's so cool to see them, because they're not the zinnias you buy in the nursery. They're my grandmother's, you know? So I got fruit and everybody gets free plants.
It's a win-win. Yes, ma'am.
A lot of people for the first time grew a vegetable. So speaking of which,
Yes, ma'am.
so this is a really, really special girl, and I'm going to send y'all home with some tomatoes. We won't spend our time on saving these. But see these little gems right here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I want you to pop that in your mouth. Oops.
That usually can be followed by something scary, but with a tomato, I'll do that. Sorry, that was...
Is that an amazing flavor?
That is. Can I have one more?
Yeah, here, take this one. Actually, that would have been a good one too. I've kind of been letting these dry. So these tiny, tiny little tomatoes are called Florida Everglades wild cherry tomatoes. So Chantry, and you have to taste it. So it's a huge tomato flavor.
There you go.
It is. You feel like you should have tomato juice running down your chin.
So these grow wild
They
in
grow
the
wild.
Florida Everglades.
Right. So they were discovered in the 1940s by some University of Florida students in the 1940s. So let me just bust one of these open and just show you real quick. So the best way to save a tomato seed is to have a fine mesh strainer. Okay. Okay. So you want to get as much of that jelly away from the seed as possible. So we definitely got to get these skins out of here. One little tomato has probably 30, 40 seeds in it. Wow. Yeah. Give it a good wash. You want a good, powerful spray.
Okay.
And you're going to get these as clean as possible. So what you're going to do is get on firm tack.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to spread these out. Just like that. I put mine on top of my grill because it conducts heat from the bottom and from the top.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is your plate, and when these are dry, you can divide them up. They need a lot of space.
They need a lot of space.
So you can try to contain her, but she's just one of those girls that just can't be calmed down. She's
wild. She's a wild tomato.
I always tell people one of the best investments you can make if you want to grow anything that bears food is citrus. So Meyer lemons do extremely well, tangerines, clementines, all of those do extremely well. They produce a lot of fruit. That's how we got to have Meyer lemon juice in our water, because I squeeze all the juice, freeze it, and then I pop out a cube. So I put 1 cube in our water today. So this guy is extremely special to me. This is another family heirloom. So my mother was the baby of 13 children, raised in Southwest Louisiana, and two of her older brothers, when they came back from World War II, went to work on the McElhenney plantation, and they grew the peppers.
The Tabasco.
The Tabasco.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, a seed or two may have fallen into a pocket and got passed down and passed down. But so these are part of my family heritage as well, and I just love them. We make so much stuff with them. So, and I've cut a lot of the limbs off. She was breaking. She was really top heavy. I groomed her up for today, so I cut a bunch of limbs off. She was probably about this big.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just splitting with so much fruit. Got them in there just right, so we got a picture of their roots.
Yes, I love it. And Miss Kat, again, thank you for inviting us on your beautiful property, showing us your plants, giving us some seeds to take back home, and educating us on how to produce some awesome fruit with them.
It's my pleasure. The greatest reward about growing is when you can share with others.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.